This game, I thought I had this tactic of taking the pawn in the center, but it turned out to be a blunder because I thought, here's why I took the pawn. Because after the knight took, you see, I have this check, and the king is forced to move. I can take this pawn, but the move that I didn't see was what white played in the game. This move, bishop f4, and they skewered my queen and knight, and I basically played the whole game down a piece. But I didn't give up here, and later in the game, I even got a brilliant move. I want to show you how I did that. So, how I got there in the first place is my opponent played e4, and I played the Sicilian, and then they played the move f4. So f4 is a move that I hate playing against because it's just they're just going for a big attack, and I always just want to equalize in the opening whenever I see this move. Now I play the move e6 here, and my plan is just go for the Taimon of Sicilian, and I'll show how I do that. So I developed a knight here, and this square is always a big concern because once they push down the move e5, they're clamping down on this d6 square, and sometimes in some games you can even get the knight in there, which can be very scary, and you'd be completely losing. So I don't want that. Now, white, you can see they played the move c3, and the intention of c3 is just to build a very, very big center. And this kind of opening is very scary to play against if you don't know what you're doing. Now I play the move knight to f6. One idea is whenever you see the move c6 and you have e4 on the position, you either want to play the move d5 or the move knight to f6 to target this pawn. And that's just a basic opening principle. And now we have the move e5 by my opponent, and now I play knight to d5. And now we have the move d3. And what d3 does is just, I guess it clamps down these squares, and it also opens up the bishop here, because you can see my knight was attacking this pawn here, and white defended it there. Now I play the move d6 here. d6, I just want to try to trade some pieces, and maybe I'll put the queen here and put some more pressure on the pawn there. And now white plays the move c4. And c4, I thought it was... c4 is not that good, because what they should have played is just the move d4, and then they would have an amazing center. But luckily for this game, my opponent didn't play that. And I went back. I didn't know what else to do, to be frank. I had the choice of, I guess, going to b6, but what is it going to do on b6? Am I going to reroute it here? Eventually to f6? Well, that seems like a very far-fetched idea. Now, so I played the move knight c7, and then ace3. a3, I can tell like my opponent wants to play the move b4 here. So I took in the center, and then I played bishop e7. I just want a castle here. One of the things I'm glad about in this position is that they didn't have this... if they played the move c3 and then the move d4 earlier, I think this game would have been much harder. But because my opponent didn't play that, now this d-pawn is much harder to defend. Now my opponent plays the move knight c3, and then I just castle here. Bishop e2. And I play a3. a6, and the idea of a6 is just I want to push b5, and you can see my knight is guarding that square, so I don't mind expanding on the queen side, and then I might develop to bishop b7. Now the king castles, and then now here's where I kind of explained at the beginning where I made the blunder. I checked, took the knight, and fell for the tactic bishop to f4, skewering my queen and knight, and there's no move for me to protect the knight. So I played queen to d4, and after the knight took... This is... I think some players would just resign in this position, but I believe that I could try to play this tactically. So the first thing I did is just go queen to d7, just attacking the bishop here, and after the bishop goes back, now I played the move f5. So you might be asking, like, why am I pushing pawns in front of my king? Isn't that dangerous? I'm down a piece, and so the only thing I can do is go all in. And that worked in my favor this game. Now we have to move queen to c2. I guess queen to c2, they want to just connect the rooks and try to maybe do this. And now I play the move g5. I'm really going to go all in against that bishop there. Now we have to move rook e1 here, or rook a1, and now f4. Now the bishop goes back, and at this point of the position, I was like, maybe I can go bishop b7 soon, and maybe I can put the bishop on this diagonal. But my king is very loose. I think white can even sacrifice a pawn and try to maybe even get a battery there. Now I play the move b5, and we have to move bishop to g4. Bishop g4, I didn't like seeing that because you can see there's a double attack. I have two defenders, but one of them is my queen. So here, what do I play here? I decided in the game to play the move rook to f6. Rook to f6, just adding a defender there. And I also want to put rook to h6 so I can just pressure that h2 pawn there. And now we have to move knight to e4. And what that does is attack my rook and just pressure this pawn. And there's only basically one move for me to play, and that's rook at h6. There's pretty much no other move to play there. And now black, but at the same time, they were pressuring this pawn. And that's the least of my concern. So they took the pawn here, and I just kind of ignored it. Because if I took here, then after they take, they have this attack, three attackers against this pawn. And I have three defenders, but one of them is my queen. And so I didn't want to do that. So I can't take there. So what I did instead is I just developed my bishop here, bishop b7, and after black took. And now I play queen to e7. This is completely losing for me. White even took the b5 pawn and plays queen to b3 here. And now there's 4 potential attackers to the pawn, and I definitely can't defend that. And you might be wondering, how did I win this position? Well, let me show you. First, I played the move bishop d5, attacking the queen, and white took the pawn. And then I played the move rook to h4, attacking the bishop here. And here, I think black played an inaccuracy, and they played the move knight to takes g5 here. And why is this an inaccuracy? Well, you can take a couple seconds to guess here. Right now they have 3 attackers, and here's one of the dangerous things. If I just take that knight there, I think what they're thinking is that then there's the move bishop takes e6, and then they would get a free bishop there. And I'm just completely losing in this position. I would have to trade according to Stockfish, and you can see I'm just down the bishop. White has 3 pawns, so of course I didn't take the knight with my queen. But what I'm playing instead is just play the move bishop takes g2, and after the king took, I played the move rook takes g4, and after king moves back, and I just took the 2 pieces there. So my opponent is still in a winning position because they're just up some pawn here, and they just have connected. Their rooks are much better coordinated, and mine's just kind of all over the place. And now they played queen c6, and they're not only attacking the rook, but they're also putting pressure on this pawn. So of course I had to defend that, and they took the f4 pawn. And you might be thinking, this is still lost, and how did I still win this? So first thing I did, I just put my rook back, and putting my rook back, there's a couple ideas. One idea is just I want to play this move and attack the queen and open up the square for the queen there. Now we have rook to e4, and now I play the move e6. Now the queen checked, I go to the corner, and now we have to move d4. I actually, when I looked at the move d4, I thought that I had a great opportunity because this diagonal is now kind of closed for the moment. It could open up in the future, but it's closed, and that gave me enough time to play the move queen to g5. And now black, Okay, so what am I threatening with queen g5? I'm threatening checkmate on g2. So that's why I thought it was good. And I know maybe white had to move, let's see, queen to f1 here. Queen to f1, they're just protecting everything and they're ready to capture a pawn, and I can't take here. And it's very solid. But what they did instead is play the move queen to e2. And why is this a miss? Well, I played the move rook g8, and now I have a triple stack here. And here in this position, white made, I think, the biggest blunder of the game. And I don't know how they did it. They have, if you look at the time, they have 5:22 seconds here. 5 minutes and 22 seconds. They basically can play anything here and win. It's a drawn position, but I would prefer to play this for white, just because they still have this pawns here. But here they take the pawn, and here I unleash my brilliant move. And can you find it? Okay, the move is queen to g1 check, and my opponent resigned. And the reason is after the rook takes, I take with the rook, and then it's checkmate.